Welcome back to the Single on Purpose series, episode 2. As I continued reading through the next 3 chapters, one theme kept showing up over and over again: disconnection. Not disconnection from other people, but disconnection from ourselves. One of the statements that really stood out to me was the idea that we often attach ourselves to other people and their opinions because we don't have a strong sense of self. And if we're being honest, many of us have done that. We look for validation, we look for approval, we look for someone to make us feel seen. And when someone chooses us or validates us, we then believe that we found ourselves. But often the opposite happens. We begin losing ourselves in someone else. John Kim talks about how what breaks us isn't usually just one major event, it's a gradual drift. The little compromises, the little ways we stop listening to our own voice and disconnect from who we really are. And the longer that drift continues, the more disconnected we become. Then something interesting happens. The more disconnected we become from ourselves, the more desperately we crave connection with someone else. We start believing a relationship will fix what we're feeling, that if we can just find the right person, then everything will finally fall into place. But one of the most powerful lines in these chapters says, the call is coming from inside the house, which, in other words, the problem isn't outside of us, the problem is the disconnect within us. No relationship, no perfect partner, no amount of validation can replace a relationship with yourself. Another section that made me stop and think was when John asked, when was the last time you felt most alive? And honestly, that question immediately brought me back to the season when I decided to leave Louisville and move to Houston. Not because everything became easy, because it didn't. There were moments when I questioned myself, felt uncomfortable, and even didn't know exactly how things would work out. But for the first time in a long time, I was choosing growth over comfort. I was stepping into the unknown. I was trusting God even when I couldn't see the entire path ahead. Looking back, I think feeling alive has less to do with being comfortable and more to do with becoming. Less to do with certainty and more to do with having the courage to move forward anyway. Another part of the book that resonates with me is when John talked about writing. He said the writing makes him feel free, and if he ignores it, it's like ignoring a core part of who he is. This really connected with me because writing has always allowed me to express myself in ways that speaking just sometimes can't. It's one of the ways that I reconnect with myself. And I think we all have something like that, something that makes us feel alive, something that reconnects us to our spirit, something that reminds us who we are underneath all the responsibilities and expectations placed on us. Spiritually, this chapter made me think about how God has created each of us with purpose, gifts, passion, and a unique identity. When we're disconnected from ourselves, we're often disconnected from the very things that God has placed inside of us. I don't believe that reconnecting with yourself is selfish. I believe it's stewardship. It's learning to care for the person God created you to be. One of the most powerful questions in this chapter was, do you like yourself? Not do you love yourself, but do you like yourself? Because loving yourself can become a phrase, but liking yourself requires honesty. Do you enjoy being with yourself? Do you trust yourself? Do you know yourself? Do you appreciate the person that you've become? And if the answer is no to any of those, then maybe the journey isn't about finding someone else. Maybe it's about finding your way back to yourself. Because when we feel alive, we are connected, connected to God, connected to ourselves, connected to our purpose, connected to our spirit. So, my question for you is this: when was the last time that you truly felt alive? And what's one thing you can do this week to reconnect with that feeling? If this message resonated with you, I'd love for you to join the conversation in the comments. And if you're enjoying this journey through Single on Purpose, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I'll see you in episode 3. God bless.